What we're going to do is give each group just 15 minutes. We're going to do a high level on the products and services, just so we can familiarize ourselves with the products that we carry and resell. And if you've got questions, okay, so we'll start in a minute.
How's dogs?
I don't know, probably going crazy. It is you.
We're waiting, right? You guys waiting for
We
me?
got Jake coming in, so I don't know how many people are supposed to be in on this call. Do you know who signed up for 1 o'clock? No?
What?
If you wanted to start, if anybody came in,
I know Kim's not coming in. I don't mind being over there. So. Kim and Mike are up in their office working on something. No.
Oh, we got Josh.
Sarah?
Let's do this. Thank you guys for coming. So this is the employee version of Demo Day. This is the classroom portion. And if any of you want to participate in the range portion, we're opening it up to just employees, no other guests or friends. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Camarade Gun Club. So if you want to let you know, I've got quite a few people signed up, and we'll let Scott with Vlcek kind of take the lead, talk about his product, and we've got about 15 minutes for each, and then we'll talk if we include some Q&A in there.
But we can go over, right?
No.
We can go under, right? I usually start off slow and then taper off.
Start off slow and taper off.
Good. Good afternoon, everybody. Scott Vlcek with Vlcek Development. I've met some of you in the room. Vlcek is a software company out of Newburyport, Massachusetts. And what we do is provide software for mobile devices, for command and control on dashboards and laptops that fuses sensor data. So all of these machines are made by disparate manufactured companies. They all put out different data streams, and they all usually have their own kind of application, right? So most operators now are taking 1, 2, 3, 4 of these machines, carrying them on their body or using them in the field at one time, and they're having to go across 2 or 3 or 4 different apps to get the information that they need. So what our software does is communicates to each of these pieces of equipment, fuses that data stream, puts it into one single data stream, and then distributes it so other people, other team members can view it, and other people can make decisions on that information as well. So we also take on the mobile device side, we take the inherent features of a smart device. So you have your accelerometer, gyroscope, pitch radial for movement, disposition or lack of movement. We can also see the battery health of the device, what your battery strength is. We can reach in and grab the cameras for still imagery, and we can reach in and grab the microphone to listen live on what's going on around that endpoint. And with that data, then we can fuse multigas. This is an MSA Altair 4XR, speaks Bluetooth to the smart device, so you can measure all kind of your volatile organic compounds and toxic industrial compounds as well. We do a lot of work with the Kestrel line of products. Most of you are familiar with this. The Kestrel 4000 series. This does about 28 environmental data points coming off of this. So you can do wind speed, wind direction, wet bulb, global temp, relative humidity, so on and so forth. Little anemometer in there as well. This is another one of the Kestrel's products. It's a drop. Scaled down version of this. Obviously doesn't do wind speed, wind direction, but it gives you all of your temperature, humidity, dew points, and things like that. This is a seismic unattended ground sensor. So a lot of people are using these as their first curtain of protection for infrastructure protection or protecting or getting some event to let them know that someone's either doing reconnaissance on their facility or infiltrating their facility. So these can be set out at different places, ingress, egress, places where someone would do a reconnaissance on a site, and it'll pick up the seismic activity in the ground from footsteps, from vehicular, and electrical current that's already like a background in the ground. So what we can do with this sends out an event on a seismic activity. So we can take that event and we can cue it to a camera. So the event goes off. We'll either put a game cam on that point, take a couple still imagery. We can also send that event to a drone or a UAS, and it'll fly to cue. So the latitude, longitude of where this thing's buried will get sent up to the UAS. It'll fly over there. It'll keep all of its payload turned off to conserve energy. Once it gets to that latitude, longitude, and it has an overwatch, it'll turn on the camera and start feeding you intel. So we don't make any of the sensors. We fuse all of those data streams and make them shareable. We call it a publish and subscribe environment. So much like Facebook and LinkedIn, you publish yourself out there, and you publish the services that you have, whatever equipment you're wearing, and then you and I can do a subscription process. Once that is done, we're connected, and now I'm seeing all that data that's coming off of your whatever machines you are. You can set thresholds on all that. So if you're carrying this and you want to set an alarm notification on a certain level of a VOC or a tick, you can do that as well. It'll send out emails, SMS, all the audio and visual stuff within the dashboard and on the phone, so it'll turn colors when it meets certain levels or exceeds those certain levels. We met at SHOT Show last year. I met Jim on the range at Wilcox Range Day. We were demonstrating the new Wilcox 5510 life support system right here. And I was demonstrating the ability to take an off-the-shelf GoPro camera, run it through an encoder, and then just be able to distribute that video to multiple endpoints and multiple command and control units. Jim saw that and said, holy shit, we're building something that has that piece of equipment right inside of it. So we've been working together for the past year, trying to drum up opportunities, because that is what a lot of the end users of the Ecliptus, great piece of equipment, pretty cheap, fairly affordable, but the information you get off of it is local. You have to be physically looking at the screen to see what's going on around that. So to be able to pull back and view that video feed coming off the Ecliptus from anywhere in the world you have connectivity, that's the partnership right there. That's it, 30,000 foot view. Any questions?
Is the software classified or controlled at all?
It's encrypted.
It is not.
Not
Not from
Not
where
from
you're
the
coming
compliance
from.
aspect.
Yeah.
Correct.
I know that I've been working with Joe trying to, I know there was a relay or something.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to the company and they don't have a classification on it either.
Right.
They're asking.
So not ITAR controlled. Yeah, it's commercially off the shelf available software.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep. But it is secure, as Kevin
it's
said,
encrypted.
Yeah, encrypted.
built for NSA FIPS 140-2 and AES 256-bit encryption, point to point.
How we met together with him is I went out to quite a few in Arizona and in California talking to different law enforcement agencies. And they loved the idea of this, they liked everything about it, but they needed a better way to use it. Just having something that they can use and put it onto a iPad while you're right next to it wasn't far enough for them. And this is exactly what we got together within the law for, because now we have an application where we can like we're working on something now. I do believe we're still working on it, where you have locations. Let's say a pipeline that needs security on that pipeline. Like you can have it turn on when you have somebody in the area, somebody come into the area, have that our turn on at night at a certain time, or a day camera during the daytime. Be able to utilize what Joe's designed here, which is our Ecliptus. It works out very good. The police organizations really like it. Once they see it, they pop, because it's something that they can use. They can really use it and use well.
So yeah, we tapped into one of the IP cameras in your hangar, so we got that streaming on that mobile device right there. So that's a live feed going on right now. And it's true multicast, so most of you know if you try to connect to a camera, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 people on it, it goes down, right? The bandwidth goes down really quickly, and this is true multicast. So thousands of people could consume that live feed at any given time.
Could you talk real quick about this kind of subscription, like how the whole piece of software
Sure.
works with the different seats?
So just like any other software, it's subscription based. So you buy a license key for, it could be an annual license, it could be a multi-year license. And so that's kind of the recurring revenue model, where every year the end user has to resubscribe. And yep.
Would that be per device?
Yeah, so there's a license for a mobile device, for an Android or an iOS device. There's a license for a command center subscription for a laptop or a desktop or a tablet. And then we have some other software solutions that work in the background too as well. So,
Do you ever do group deals for multiple devices, like for a company base?
sure. Oh yeah. And we definitely have multi-year discounts and quantity discounts as well. And our relationship now is kind of a referral, because obviously you guys don't have the staff and the manpower to actively dedicate someone to a software sell. So any referral that you hear from the customer base, refer to us. We'll take the lead, and then we'll give you a margin off the close.
Tell them how far it'll work.
Anywhere.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize, like,
Yeah.
you could be in another, I could be up here, and then you could have one in Virginia Beach, a camera, and you're still gonna be able to see that.
So yeah, if you
You
got
can
8
still
guys,
monitor it.
if you got 8 guys in Afghanistan or Iraq wearing Wilcox 5510s, people in DC can
And
monitor.
see, and that's what's so powerful about it, it is just in a bubble.
We were at ALIA in Reno, and we actually were streaming that video of our hangar while we were demonstrating everything at Reno, at ALIA. And that was live, so we could see you guys walking through the hangar while we were at the show.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we saw quite.
It was empty a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of nose pickers.
There was a lot of guys just standing around talking.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of nose pickers we noticed there, but just saying.
I got a question for the ASU, are you guys just selling that by itself, or are you also gonna have a device so they can pan and filter?
No, Joe's working on it now. The pan and tilt for the cameras. Yes, Joe has got that. There's a few different devices that the cops have talked to me about. Sticks, just poles for surveillance. But for actually fixed devices, we need pan and tilt
right
and
now
Zoom.
you just
We can't have Zoom, but our future is also Zoom.
Are you
Pan
gonna
tilt
make your own
Zoom.
pan and tilt, or you gonna make?
No, that's a wheel that somebody else made. We don't have to spend the time making that.
Just for my knowledge, because I'm out there talking to people, like, oh yeah, you can get a pan and tilt.
Yeah, yes, you can get a pan and tilt. They're out there, and it's what the application and how much you want to spend on that pan and tilt.
Are you going to stick with the Hero form? Or are you thinking about the Hero? They just launched the new Hero 5 camera.
That's Joe, and I think there's going to be a redesign, so I'm not sure what he's going to be doing.
So if they add the pan and tilt, will they be able to control that from your software then?
Yes.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
With Access cameras right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's all about, and
Yep.
it would work out great that way. We
And
control it.
it's called SLUTA-Q, with
Yep.
seismics and different kind of unattended ground sensors. So it's not consuming battery while it's sitting out there waiting. It's waiting for an event to turn on and
And then
capture that
Yep.
event.
Anybody else have questions?
What's the average cost for a year contract?
For
device.
like one mobile is about $360 a year. It's about $30 a month. A dashboard is about $1,200 a year.
You need to at least have both, probably.
You could get away with just a mobile. You could.
I'm just
But if you
thinking,
had a command and control function, you'd probably want.
I have a friend in the fishing game out here who is wondering how they might be able to use that for surveillance of areas that they find.
Oh, that's a great use case. So they put out game cams now.
They don't have to have somebody there, they could actually.
Now, and it has an internal SD card.
Yeah.
So they go back and they retrieve that SD card, and the people that came are already gone. So they're hoping it happens again, so they'll redeploy that game cam. Now they can sit back
And
or
watch
whatever
it.
and watch it, and when an event happens,
They
then they can respond.
They could
It
they
should
can
be
exit zones
self-service,
and let them run
right?
away.
You need to have some kind of.
You need some backhaul.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. So it can go SATCOM, it can go cell service, it can go whatever. So,
Most of I know is not under cell service.
Yep.
Yeah.
yep. But you can usually see satellites.
Well, thank you, Scott.
Sure.
Good job. Who wants the next?
Oh.
Oh, you up?
I'll give you 14 of my minutes.
All right.
May I help you with anything?
Model helmet. I'm Paul Kester with Team Wendy, company based out of Cleveland.
I signed on with them about a year and a half ago. And we're partnered with Vlcek.
Thanks.
A helmet by itself is pretty much worthless unless you can put a night optic on the front of it. Then you've got a good viable tool that's going to save guys' lives and allow them to function at night, which is when most people are out doing their job. We make helmets, and that's it. We make a ballistic, a carbon fiber bump, and a polymer bump. And I'll pass those around in a second. This is one I wore on my last and 13th deployment to Iraq. It costs about $1,000. It's level 3A. That's the ballistic rating for it. It means you can withstand 9 mil or 5.56 rounds. And it's about $600 cheaper than the competition. And we deliver in 2 to 3 weeks as compared to 10 to 12 months. So that's it for ballistic. And I say we make a polymer bump helmet. Runs about $275. All the same functions as that, just non-ballistic. Same type of retention system and pad set, fully adjustable. You can wear this over your headset or attach your headset to the side of these rails. And then again, also you can put your Vlcek mounts right in the front of that. So I've got one attached right there. This is a carbon fiber variant of that polymer bump helmet. Runs about $550. There's two different types of pad systems that go inside of this. This is a revolver air system, like the crumple zones in your car, little air pockets. Also really good for air crew because it's light. You can attach your headsets to the side, put your night vision up front as well, or a GoPro or a headlamp or whatever type of optic that you need. Like the AFSOC is looking at outfitting all 5 of their flying units, both little birds and the conventional aircraft, with that helmet and goggle mount to that style right there. About $550, $275 for the bump, and right at $1,000 for ballistic.
Are all of them FAA certified?
No FAA certification whatsoever. So the way with AFSOC, we're not calling this a helmet; it's a night vision goggle platform. You're pulling my chain. He said, nope. That way they don't have to go through the Air Force aviation approval, strictly AFSOC and SOCOM for funding, and not the whole flying side of it, air crew flight equipment. It's an NVG platform.
I just like that. I like that.
There's no FAA requirements anyways for approved flight helmets.
Are these all commerce controlled?
No, none of these are ITAR restricted. So in fact, we did our largest sale to date is for the Australian Defence Force for 29,000 of the ballistic helmets over a 5-year delivery, and we're being considered for the Air Force Security Forces for 35,000 helmets.
So they're commerce controlled, not ITAR.
Just the ballistic, though.
Just the ballistic.
Just the ballistic. The other ones are EAR 99.
Yes.
Non-controlled.
Here's another carbon fiber bump. This one's configured for free fall. It allows you to put your audible altimeter over your ear. And also has
That's cool. That's neat.
has the connectors on the side to put your FAOS or a solar or 2 mast. Single point connection.
Oh, okay.
And, I've jumped that before, and it's great, especially guys that have spent a lot of time back in the aircraft, jump master and students. It's light, it allows airflow over your head, but you can still wear a fleece hat underneath if you want to stay warm in the wintertime. That's all we make, helmets. This company really got on the map, though, when they partnered with Vlcek, because some of the competitors use a stamped NVG shroud for the front, and it's a piece of crap. So the last time I was in Iraq, that's the reason that some companies put those bungees on the front of the helmets to keep the nods from flying off, because there's such a low tolerance in there. So we bought Vlcek shrouds for all of our ballistic helmets, had them sent to Iraq, and said I would swap them all out. And that was really my intro to the Team Windy Vlcek's relationship and how I got my start.
I can attest to that. We actually were in the Philippines and we saw a helmet, a competitor's helmet that just got delivered, and they had the nods on the front, and they wobbled on the front. You stick it on some of the shroud, and it was just solid. So it really is made, to keep that steady.
A lot of people think those are put on there to keep the nods from flying away if they get knocked off. That's just an afterthought. They're really to reduce that shake in there because it's such a sloppy harness and a stamped NVG strap. Any questions about product line? Pretty simple.
How many how much interest in bump in the carbon fiber?
Yeah, we can see that.
It really started to take off with that sock. Now that they saw the crews could wear it, because this is a stamp thing, whereas the other are it's the machine insert. So the crews really like that. Versatility, be able to wear it over a headset versus it has the headset to the side and an O2 mask with it.
You prefer the pump?
They prefer the carbon.
Oh, yeah.
Because that has multiple liners that you can use on it. Whereas the LTP or the polymer bump up, it just has the one headset. That's a retention for your goggles. Just push it right in there. You gotta press hard. You gotta press hard. And it actually comes with two different O-rings, different breakaway strength.
Yeah.
Depending on how much force you want to put on your neck. I tried that once free falling. I got the risers wrapped around my head to see if my head would come off. It didn't work. I had skating pad.
I see.
No kidding.
It just wobbles.
Just wobbles a little bit, yeah. All right. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right. Looking forward to see you all off the range.
Good job. All right, so we got our Wilcox friends. Do you guys want to just keep your stuff over here, or?
Yeah.
You don't have to. Yeah, I can get those.
Clifford's talking.
Awesome.
Here to third.
Hang up.
I'm Travis Bishop, by the way.
I'm Tucker Perkins, Wilcox. Thanks for having us, guys. As Paul stated, we work a lot with Team Wendy and obviously with ASU on the new Aeronautics mount. You guys designed, we're obviously manufacturing.
Don't forget Blue.
Yeah, my buddy Scott at Blue Force. Obviously, everyone's in here for a reason. Wilcox got to start in night vision mounting solutions many years ago, and that's what we're true to and what we do best. We also do, obviously, as you see, the 5510 and electro-optics with weapon grips, etc., which you'll see more at the range. Hopefully tomorrow you guys swing by. But, just our mounting solutions, important pieces to hit, especially with people that aren't familiar with it, is when we design our mount, such as you can see here, this is our typical G24 mount on a Team Wendy helmet. A lot of people will use this mount and plug it on any helmet with any shroud. As Paul said, we really stand by our shroud and the life cycle testing that goes through. It's life cycle tested over 1 million times in-house and made to be fit just perfectly so there's no slop in there. And now going into the next year, it's important to note that when the mount and the shroud are sold together or used together, that's a lifetime warranty. It's not a year warranty on a mount. Whether you're using a DPAM mount as seen here, which will fit your 4949s, your 5050s. This is supposed to be used and was designed to be used. I'm going to borrow Paul's. Actually, no, he's already got the DPAM mount on here. On the Wilcox low-profile shroud, this is typical to a flight scenario. This shroud here, the low-profile 3-hole bracket, brings the mount closer to the operator's eyes than our typical Wilcox 3-hole shown here that actually has the interface plate. I don't know which will pull up here for you. This is the typical Wilcox 3-hole shroud used on the G24, G22 mounts. That takes our dovetail shoe design that fits in a lot better and is a really snug fit. We make a dovetail shoe, as you can see here. This dovetail shoe, which is used on the PBS 14 arm right here, we make this for pretty much every goggle, ground goggle, flight goggle. Obviously not the ball on D10, which is used on the DPAM, but that ensures a really tight, snug fit to our G24 mount, which clips in right here. That's it. Pretty simple. But going back to the shroud here, the G24 is designed with this 3-hole shroud. We were the first to come up with a shroud that could be drilled into a ballistic helmet to keep the integrity of the helmet. these two are used together, that's our best deal. No one's going to feel any slop. It's a lifetime warranty on the whole operation. So whether it's a ballistic, non-ballistic, flight or ground helmet, Vlcek has a solution. As Paul stated, we do have some workarounds with getting the DPAM and low-profile shroud into the flight range, and a lot of aircrew members rocking that. It does have the removable lanyard to hold your goggles on there. If they fall off, obviously it's an expensive piece of equipment. So that's a nice feature, but you know, moving in away from that stuff, we'll get into the weapons and electro-optics later, but there's a solution whether they have the Vlcek's typical 3-hole shroud, low-profile shroud. We can get any one of our mounts on there and find a solution to the end user. So we do have an option for pretty much everyone. You want to add?
Just to elaborate, basically when you're talking about a warranty, if someone just buys a mount and sticks it on the competitor's shroud, we're not going to give a lifetime warranty. So if that way, if you're talking on the phone, we encourage you then to buy the whole kit. Even if they already have it on there, it's a $30 item. They're going to be much happier if they replace it and go with a Vlcek solution. So if they decide to buy just the mount only, it's going to be 1-year warranty. We're not going to give a lifetime, just because it's just like buying a Porsche and putting a Volkswagen engine in it. We just can't give you that warranty because I can't control the tolerances of the other machine shops. On most of the 3-hole stuff that we came up with, we developed it. I mean, like Chucker's new, so that's why he's kind of doing this. But we've developed it back for the Navy SEALs many years ago. They're the first people that wanted the 3-hole shroud. So all the CAD models and all the designs, OpsCore, Team Windy, Armor Source, any helmet company comes to us, we usually lay out the 3-hole pattern for them on their helmet so we know it's correct. And that's kind of how Vlcek started. So he did a very good job doing it for just a little more detail, just for your own knowledge. So when anyone says, oh, they developed a 3-hole, it actually did come from Vlcek. And it basically, that low-profile shroud was actually the first mount that we actually designed was a metal T-bracket. And it's funny how history, we're coming back to it. So we did that back in the 90s, and now operators are wanting that again because it's simple. If all of a sudden you're drilling, depends on who drills the hole, sometimes they mess up. What's nice about the sheet metal piece, if it doesn't exactly fit, you can actually bend it, get it in, and tighten it down, and it'll fit any 3-hole helmet. Where if you got a plastic one, if the holes are off, you probably won't get it fit in. So it just depends on the operation, what they're doing, where they're going. But that's about all I got to add. So
just another side piece here, depending on what goggle they use or the budget they have. A lot of guys, as you know, run with the single monocular PVS 14. We do have various different vinyl bridges, as we call them, available to rock 2 PVS 14s or something else. You know, we have a monk bridge, speeder. So there's a bunch of different options if they can only afford a couple PVS 14s. Use those as a binocular as well, just to add to the modular aspect of the whole line. But this is what it's worth to pass around. Just a few. You can see the two, our typical 3-hole shroud, and then the low-profile shroud, which is used for our DPAM dual-powered aviation mount that takes a single CR123. Obviously, that attaches to our new battery pack we're making for you guys. That fits with the aeronauts as well.
So if a lot of law enforcement guys will probably buy a PVS 14, they're going to get issued an arm with it. That arm has a bayonet-style arm. If they don't want to buy our arm, we do make another mount called the G11 that has a square bayonet interface style to put into it. What's different than that with the competition is you just stick it in and it moves. Ours, we have a little Allen wrench that moves a little thing up and down so I can tighten it down so I don't get the movement in the bayonet. And it's fairly reasonable. It's like $220 for that mount. And so if a lot of guys don't want to change, because law enforcement, sometimes I call them cheap because they don't want to buy the nicest stuff. But at least if they don't have a budget for it, we do have that mount, and then we do have a higher end mount. So whatever they want, we can outfit them to the best of our ability.
Yeah, this is just a dovetail shoot design. How it integrates safety aspect, the G24 mount, as seen there, has a breakaway feature. When engaged, that comes off of the shroud at 5 to 10 pounds of pressure. So we can only guarantee that. Yep. We can only guarantee that with our shroud when our mount's used with that shroud. As Paul was saying, there is slop with other competitors' shrouds, and we're not sure if that's going to break away before the 5 to 10 or after, or somewhere where it wasn't designed to. So if someone's taking a corner or fast roping in, they know that when the breakaway feature is engaged,
Make sure you have your lanyard on there.
yeah, exactly, the lanyard to keep the night vision on when it goes away. But it's all about, giving them a quality, stable solution to protecting them at the same time.
And again, if they don't want to use our lanyard, you can use 550. You can run it through the little bracket on the side, and put 550 cord on it. I mean, you don't have to use everything. For the end users to find ways to use different things that they don't have.
So what's the breakaway on the lanyard?
The breakaway,
The aviation one is 10 Gs.
there's two different rings.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
So I think one's around 12 pounds and the other one's like 50. And then the rope will break at 80. So
I don't know if I've literature on that. I thought the rings were 15 to 25.
Yeah, but
Oh, yeah, because it's going to be the.
You can hold me accountable then when I go to work for Wilcox. But right now,
Okay.
most of the guys want the harder one because what happens is when you're like riding boats, you're doing this, they won't even engage the breakaway because it'll break away. So they don't want that lanyard. They'll take their neck being hurt for a day just because it's so important to wear the knot when you're running on them for 5 hours. So I don't see many people using the light breakaway. Most of them use the heavy ring from what I've seen.
conversely, we have a lot of soft units now that jump this helmet, that mount, but they need the breakaway because during free fall, if your pilot chute gets caught in that, it's going to rip that off. You don't want your head obviously coming with it. So they go with the lighter breakaway just to survive that. Those get entangled in there.
I think one last point on, depending on who you're talking to, the end user, the customer, if they have a one-hole, or they're not sure if they're going to have a three-hole, the drill pattern on their helmet, you can sell them our hybrid shroud, which has the rubber backing here and the one-hole setup, but you can also peel away the rubber backing, and that provides the traditional three-hole design as well. So that's just covered in one shroud and gives them the option if they do switch helmets as well. If you guys have any questions on kind of what we've gone over, I know it's a little confusing, and you have to get your hands on it more.
If you get a catalog, there's a big sheet in there, and you can see all the night vision mounts. I mean, he only covered 14. There's like 15 of them.
Do you want to talk about the Raptor?
Sure. Yep, the Raptor S here, this is our mini laser rangefinder. It has visible laser, IR pointer, an IR illuminator, as well as a ballistic solver. So it gives you a full solution to any rifle platform with any optic, etc. You can Bluetooth your gun data from a tablet over to this unit, and it takes in the whole atmosphere, your wind, barometric pressure, where you are on the earth, elevation, and everything you need to know to increase your first round hit probability. So it can be set up just about any way. We do recommend mounting it on top of the optic, near the top rail, but it'll come back, give you a range, give you a hold, and you're pretty much good to go. Put in your bullet gun data, and this thing takes care of it. So, pretty cool little piece. Obviously, you guys will be shooting that tomorrow, so we really hope to come out for that.
That piece is amazing. That right there can make almost anybody, a sharpshooter. It's amazing. I could not believe how well accurate we all got. We're last year using that, and the first 2 years I was going out to the SHOT Show and going out to your range day. We're shooting a mile, and you can actually hit target at a mile. That's unstinking believable.
No, it's not a bino.
Yeah, I don't think it might not have battery. Yeah, no. Battery's out, but that does Bluetooth to a Kestrel.
Mounts to your weapon. This is a laser. I don't know which side is which. I don't remember. But visible laser, IR laser, and infrared flood.
And a rangefinder.
And then a rangefinder as well.
Anybody here do long range shooting? You have for this?
A
What we
call long range.
Weapon this way.
So when you mount this on top of the scope, you get on your gun, get ready to take this super, 1,000-meter shot. Atmospherics are just important as everything else, trigger control, sideline. This allows you to set up your cheek well, get on that gun, and then not move. So you can actually read the distance of the target, as well as what your elevation, your wind hold is going to be, without ever breaking your grip on that thing, which is very important in long-range shooting. You see on the range tomorrow, the accuracy is just phenomenal with this.
If you don't have to do the hold, it's just a rangefinder, it'll give you in yards. Some guys have their own data, so you can do it in yards and meters, so whatever you want to do. It'll do inches. There's a lot of different things this thing does. Because the Marines are still stuck there, they want meters and yards, and so we had to make this thing capable for everything, so. Some people aren't shooting the. You guys will get familiar when people ask you about it, they're going to say, what type of reticle? So most of them are shooting Tremor 3, and it's made by Nightboard. Nightboard spots a company that makes the Tremor 3 reticle, and we'll show you tomorrow. Hopefully we have some scopes with that in there. And they're holding off of it, where the Marine Corps doesn't have those. So they'll get it in yards or meters, and then they'll have a data bus, and then that's how they'll engage the target. So there's different people shooting different things.
Yep. The PVS 14 vinyl groups will just have a few additions to that. There'll be 2 arms essentially.
So this one is on?
That's the mom. Yep.
So why, I don't remember why the arms on the PS14 do.
Why there is arms?
Yeah, why is
So
the
it's just
arm?
like the single J arm. That's how it mounts to.
Well, I'm not saying that, I'm sorry. We had one sent to us a while back. I don't remember, it was a couple months ago. But it had these 2 little bars that slid in back and forth. I'm not sure, I don't know.
I still got it upstairs for you to grab it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Too.
It was just really
Couldn't get it to.
inconvenient.
Okay.
With the little arms. This one looked a lot better.
Well, it's for a mini NC. So it's
That's the one that we were talking
yeah,
about?
that's a different goggle.
Okay,
That's an Israeli goggle.
Yeah, I was trying to
That's
figure
the
out
Australian
what
one.
it was for. Okay, that makes sense now.
So what do you guys think of the Wilcox? Obviously, at the forefront should be mounting solutions for all things MPG helmet. Unfortunately, we didn't bring a skull lock light, which is a solution to mount night vision goggles without using a helmet. We do have those. A lot of people really like those. And we are new to the electro-optic side, but we also feel biased that we are becoming the best, who are the best in that, and that goes along with our weapons, accessories, and grips as well.
So our CEO wants to be the best electro-optical lasers in the world in the next 5 years. He wants to surpass L3. So that's our mission at our company from our CEO. We'll always do the mounts and we'll always be good, but we want to go to the next level. So that's kind of, so you guys know what our mission statement is for our CEO. He wants to be, everyone knows who L3 is. Everyone knows what an Adapil is. We want everyone to know what Wilcox is and then what's possible. So that's why we're getting more engaged, and you're going to be seeing a bunch of stuff that's trying to show a bunch of these things coming out.
You guys have any questions?
Thank you.
Employee purchase program.
All right, and hey Kevin, do you want to spend a couple minutes on
Yeah,
the
just won't be long.
aeronauts
For us.
and the ground interface? I think
I don't know how much.
The magnet to shut it off.
Okay.
We do 13,000.
yeah, we can, but I wanted to focus on that.
That's more than that. I don't know, you guys probably, a lot of guys have seen this already. I don't know if you have, I don't know if you have yet. I know you haven't, but this is our, the helmet mount that we've been using.
Yeah, it's the legacy one that's on here.
We've still a bit of helmet mount that's been around since the 60s. It's very old, it's antiquated, it's been redone. It breaks very easy and it's not field repairable. It's an old piece of junk. You guys have probably, most of you have already seen it. So what we've done, we wanted to do this for quite some time with Dr. Joe, with engineering it up, and then partnering with Wilcox, who is obviously the company to go to when it comes to helmet mounts or any kind of mount whatsoever. And what we've done is we've designed this And to look at this is very, very simple. It's simple to look at. It's made. It's designed so that actually this means a lot. This isn't exactly what I really. This is the old style. This is our new style. But what this will do is actually will set what the problem that pilots have is snag. It's a big problem that a lot of pilots have, especially in let's say in a strange situation. What this helmet will do it lays the plug coming into here right alongside of the helmet, and there's actually a coil here, which is actually our new design. This is a prototype, or it's going to be in the back of the helmet. And this way, no matter where the pilot wants to put this helmet mount, this battery on the back of his head, this mount, this cord is going to be fixed alongside of the helmet, and it's going to be a lower case of any kind of snags. What they also did, now I heard something different there, Travis. We're talking about G's when it comes to this breakaway. We were taught that, and I'm not sure where the pounds come, because the pilots have been using cords.
Well, the G's will have to work. The G's are coming in with manufacture your goggle. So your goggle has to break away at so many G's.
Right.
You guys get tested. The lanyard, unless it's a regulation, shouldn't have to.
Okay, well, because what we've been told, and what I've been telling pilots now is because the pilots have been having that neck cord. We've been having that stupid shoestring we've been selling for many years, and it's cheap and it's archaic, and the guys really have a hard time using it. When they're flying, they've got to put their nods on in flight. It's very inconvenient, and it gets caught up in their bike boom, and it's very just inconvenient. That's all there is to it. With this connected to the helmet, to the nods, there's less of a chance of catching with anything. But the big point about it, because everyone has to worry about a survivable crash, and with a survivable crash, when you got that thing around your neck, that your goggles are tossing you around. They're black and blue in your face, big time, and they could even cause more damage, and actually more vital damage than anything else. With this, this at 10 G's, the nods are gone. In a survivable crash, you don't care about the nods. You care about them dropping if you're flying, and you don't want to drop them. But if you're involved in a survivable crash, the last thing you want is your nods with you, and that's what this will do: is break away and save your life. We've got this old archaic battery pack that's been around since Christ the Corporal. It's an archaic. It's a constant breakage. It's amazing how many doors we sell, and I don't know who it was, whose family member is involved with making this, but somebody made a lot of money making this piece of junk here. Why it's even in here is beyond me. I mean, you go through these things like water, and they're not cheap. Anything to deal with an aircraft is expensive, and this right here is a hell of a design. But what this involves is see this plastic close over. What we have here is a true latch and door design. It's going to be sealed, so this is not impermeable to water or moisture whatsoever. Where FAA, because it's new, we have to. And so this is going to be sealed so that there's going to be any kind of moisture, any kind of atmospheric conditions is not going to affect it. And another positive thing about this is with this door, this thing right here, God knows what direction you're in. With this, both positives are up. So if you're trying to put batteries in flight, both positives are up, and you can go right back and fill your positive. You're on your batteries. So it's a very quick and easy way. It's a big indication to know where you are. You shouldn't have to change batteries in flight, but if you do need to, it's always positive up. It's very simple. Counterweights. You look at the counterweights on this archaic design here, is an afterthought. It's obviously an afterthought, and it doesn't come with come with it. With their new aeronauts, it's obviously designed into it, but it comes with it. You buy one, it comes with it, and if you happen to have one of these type of helmets with a BOA connection right here, just like the Team Windy has, and your helmet fixed correctly, you have a good opportunity, and a lot of pilots will use less weight. And the less weight, the better. I mean, when you've got all this on your head, the length of time that you're going to fly, anything you can do to reduce weight is going to be better for you. Then we came up with, what happens a lot is we got people with flight helmets or ground helmets, and they're flying, they land, and they want to do ground work. They're flying, but when they got to the ground, they got to grab their ballistic helmet or the bump helmet. And it's not set up with, it's more set up similar to this. It is set up with a three-hole shroud. Like he brought up, like what he brought up with the condition of this is not going to be correct. You have to have a special kind of mount with the low profile for it to be at the right angle. What we got now is you can take a typical ground helmet and put this in, and the nods are going to be down and into your face, whereas they're supposed to be just like a flight helmet. So we're taking a bump helmet or one of these kind of ballistic helmets. This is beautiful. Anyway, and be able to get your nods with this, so you get out of the aircraft, drop your helmet, discard your flight helmet, put your ballistic on, use your same nods, put this on, and you're going to be able to use your nods and fly at nighttime and hopefully survive. Now let's get back to this. This is what I did over at the last trade show I went to. We're looking at finally a helmet, a mount, and battery pack that is actually for the future. I mean, what we've designed with Joe's help, with Pericles, using this, how this fits your head. If you look at where this boa fits, it's connected up in here. So when you put this on, it actually brings the helmet to your head. And what I brought up with the batteries, your battery pack, the counterweights, you're going to be able to wear this a lot longer. Going to be able to alleviate hot spots. It's just darn good. It's a helmet of the future. I think it's the most I've used, and I've seen a lot of them, and this is a beautiful helmet. But with our aeronauts, mounts, and the helmet, it's like I say, the NVG attachment of the future. Everything is made correctly. One of the thing about this, which is a very, very big point, is field repairable. The old one, this is $900. You break it, throw it away. Or the old ones, this is $900, but it's repairable. Everything in it is repairable, and it's field repairable. So it's not like you don't have to send it anywhere. You can do it yourself. You can bring it into your team office and repair it. That's all I got. Any questions on this, especially with the new guys?
How many different models of MVGs do you guys manufacture for assembly?
Models?
We only assemble two.
No, the
the PBS7 and the 14. And then we
what we sell, what makes yours? Okay, we have the PBS7 and
7
14.
and 14. Okay.
And the 14, and we have a digital 14. Have you seen our digital 14?
No.
Do we have our digital 14 down?
But do you repair the 4949 too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we started with 4949s.
That's what I thought.
I mean, when Mike
You guys
started with
always said you did too, so you
well, yeah, with 4949s and 949s.
I meant like assemble new systems.
Yeah, then I didn't present that properly.
Yeah, we put all of them. They're all of them. The thing about the Pericles helmet that I just want to reiterate, I guess, is made specially for helicopter pilots. It's made solely for them. So there's specific designs we can go into. The reason why it's for helicopter pilots, but the comfort and everything. But that's just kind of one thing to keep in mind. It's not made for fixed wing. They have a fixed wing helmet that they sell for fixed wing, but this is actually for helicopter pilots. And there's no helmet out there that is. This is the only one that is made specifically for helicopter pilots.
What's the price on it, Daniel?
Depending on the model you get, there is a carbon fiber model and then there's a regular model.
They're all carbon fiber.
Oh, are they?
But there's a model that you can, the paint, basically the cover is carbon fiber finish. That's more expensive just because of the labor.
But they're
What they run
just
the cost. So typically, sell price is around, when you're saying a little around 2,000. For the carbon fiber, it can be upwards of 2,600.
So we're gonna start bringing in the folks for the next session.
Helmet.
Yeah. Because we gotta give our next people.
As soon as they see it, they'll make sure of them.
But if you wanna come up and range, we're on 5. You're on my list.
It's at 5 o'clock that already starts, Sarah?
Yeah,
What?
we're north of there when it happens, so yeah, we kept
No,
pretty
you
much.
have to be
We got a little bit of
there.
rain out of it, a day,
I can give you a copy.
and then after that.
I have it on my thing, I just
So we
can go up and look. Like,
Yeah, I just can't, sorry, I don't. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Students also have a military issue. Digital?
Yeah. Well, digital.
Oh.
I don't know what without pushing me, and I get stuck on this.
Oh.
Do you?
Yeah.
I have got this. Well, you can do it right there. Yeah, but the operation.
Turn it on and off.
Yeah, right. Because we think it's well, we've seen and we've heard that people, when we got a weapon, this is ridiculous.
I know that screen is really blurry.
Yeah.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good.
Am I sitting in your chair?
No, you're good.
Okay, good.
You're sitting in Kevin's chair.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
As I should be.
Yeah. I'll give it 2 weeks.
Our Kevin?
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. That feed's going through YouTube, so it has some latency on it right now.
Is it going through YouTube?
Yeah. It's free.
Point it some other way.
Oh.
There you go.
You want me to put a spotlight on
Still
you?
waiting for a couple
Real
people.
warm lamp?
So we're gonna hold on.
No?
My seat was already warmed up for me, so that's good enough.
Is that better?
So much better.
Okay.
Good.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, well, it's not bad. Yeah.
I probably. Yeah.
I know, I'm saying, while your ass like heavy.
Yeah. Put some bubbles on there or something, you know? Get the bubble gum dispenser and put the helmet on there.
What we need to do is find something with a bigger base. Stable.
Push that on their head. No.
Do what? It's actually my face.
It's a mold.
Oh, really? That's a mold? Nice.
All right, we can go
Next
ahead
group?
and get started.
Okay.
Keep this ball rolling.
Cool. How Hello, group two. Nice to meet you.
The B team.
My name's Scott Vlcek. I'm with Blue Force Development. We are a software company out of Newburyport, Massachusetts. We build software for mobile devices and command and control dashboards, specifically around sensor fusion. So we don't build any hardware. We just take the data off of all these pieces of hardware and fuse them into a single data stream, and then make that information shareable to other team members, back to dispatchers, command and control elements, and so on and so forth. We put a lot of rules and events on it and notification processes, so you're getting inundated with information from all this equipment, and we make it so analysts or people that are making those decisions can set rules to it to only get notified when something goes wrong. We're obviously looking at a lot of different stuff. We met ASU last year at SHOT Show. We're a partner with Wilcox. We were demonstrating their new Patriot 5510 life support system. This has a Bluetooth board in it, so it speaks to our software, and the users can see how much tank pressure is in there, the mode that it's in, PAPR, SCBA, or APR, and also the battery health on the device. Alongside that, I was demonstrating the ability to take an off-the-shelf GoPro camera and distribute that video feed anywhere in the world and be consumed by X number of people without degradation. Jim Winkle saw that and said, hey, we're building this new Ecliptus piece of equipment which has the GoPro camera in it, and the biggest requirement we're getting from our customers is the ability to view that video stream on something else other than the screen on the back of it. So to view it from somewhere else in the world, that was the big requirement. So we partnered, and we're offering that service for the Ecliptus. So any of this stuff, most of you are familiar with Kestrel line of products, environmental meters, data loggers, 31 points of data on this with temperature, humidity, wet bulb, global temp, so on and so forth, wind speed, wind direction. Some of their smaller units that obviously don't have wind speed, wind direction, but do environmental monitoring like temperature, relative humidity, and stuff like that. Multi-gas detectors, so volatile organic compounds, toxicological, industrial compounds, all that different kind of stuff. And then even, this is a seismic unattended ground sensor, so you stick these in the ground around the perimeter of something important, and when someone either walks in or a vehicle passes this and creates seismic activity on the ground, this will send an event, and we can, through our software, take that event and either send it to a camera, so now you can get pictures on where this happened. You can follow someone with a series of cameras on what's going on around that event. All of it, again, can be consumed into a... it is subscription-based, so much like any other software that you buy, you can pay a monthly fee, or you can pay an annual or a multi-year fee as well. Any questions?
So,
Are you awake?
yeah, to get it set up, like doing the R&D, to make it talk to something else, y'all will handle all that?
Yeah, we get from whoever makes, say Kestrel, they have what's called an API, a software API. So we don't have to rewrite our core platform to talk to a new piece of equipment.
Right.
So this probably took our developers 4 man-hours to start consuming the data that comes off of here and then get it into our system. It's basically just a little software plug-in. You can go in and go to the plug-in store and get, we've already built these, so write once, use forever. So any new piece of equipment you bring online, we write a simple software to plug into, and then it's available for consumption.
Can you share the, I remember when you were here first for our training, I forgot to mention this to last group, but the application that they were using, I think it was Washington State, for the,
Okay. Yep.
I think that's just another, it's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
so there's another layer that kind of takes the Ecliptus and all the other stuff out of it. So that application that I was just talking to, that was our first application that we deployed, which was called Blue Force Tactical. We found that in talking to a lot of other end users, they weren't wearing these or carrying these, but they wanted to use the features of a smart device, so location-based services, accelerometer, gyroscope, is someone moving, are they not moving, are they motionless, being able to reach in and grab the cameras for still imagery from a remote location, and also being able to reach in and grab the microphone to listen live to what's going on around that endpoint. So we built the second application called Blue Beacon, and it's being deployed in a lot of like social services groups, allied health workers, where they're taking their issued smart device and they have the ability to be monitored remotely, and those environments that they go into obviously get pretty nasty really quick. So they wanted the ability to throw a panic. So it's basically
On their regular phones.
on a phone. Yep. So you put your earphones in, or a dongle that we can provide called ripcord. So pull the ripcord, it starts sending that notification process out to dispatch, out to security, out to local law enforcement, and people can respond. Also, you can reach in and grab the camera and grab imagery, and you can track them with the location-based services. So we have a third app as well that's basically a 99-cent app now. It's just location and tracking. So there you go.
Cool stuff.
Cool.
Has got any questions?
Sure.
My name is Paul Kester. I work for Team Wendy. We're a helmet manufacturer. Been in business for about 20 years. I forgot to mention the last group. The origins of the name Team Wendy. The founder's daughter, Dan Moore, Wendy died in a ski accident 20 years ago. So he really got spun up on TBI, brain injuries, and started producing a ski helmet. And that kind of morphed into pads and retention systems, which we sell literally hundreds of thousands of them. And that morphed into helmets, and here we are 20 years later. So this is the ballistic helmet that I wore over my last deployment in Iraq. Weighs 2.6 pounds. Has what's called a BOA retention system, which tightens around your head circumferentially rather than pulling your jaw into your skull, which tends to hurt after about 8 hours or so. It's level 3A, which is the ballistic rating, so 9 mil and 5.56 is what it's rated for. It's about $600 less than the competition, and that is definitely the most comfortable helmet I've worn in 41 years of service. So, what really put Team Wendy on the map, though, was when they partnered with Wilcox. How long ago was it? About 5 or 6 years ago. And where a lot of helmet companies have a problem is in the NVG, the shroud, this mount right here. They use a stamp fitting. It's such a poor tolerance, the NVGs tend to slop around in there. So they partnered with Wilcox, who produces a machined shroud, which allows for much tighter tolerances. You don't get all that slop in there, and negates the need to put bungee cords on the front to eliminate that slop. So all of our helmets come with those, the Wilcox shroud. We also make a polymer lightweight bump helmet, basically a Protect helmet amped up a little bit. That's about 275. Also has completely configurable pad set and the same BOA retention system. And right in the middle is, this is our carbon fiber, which obviously is non-ballistic bump helmet. This is popular with the air crews and with a lot of free fall parachutes because it comes with 2 different types of suspension systems and pad sets. The Wilcox shroud on the front, so you can mount your NVGs, a GoPro, headlamp, whatever you need to put. And I've worn one of these 12 hours in the back of a Casa doing free fall parachutes. No hot spots or headaches. Great helmet. Carbon's about 550. Polymer about 275, 295, depending on the features, and the ballistic's about 1,000 MSRP. Our largest contract to date is with the Australian Defence Force for 29,000 ballistic helmets. and we're hoping to win the Air Force contract for $35,000. Sales have definitely increased every year. Any questions? It's a down and dirty helmet sale.
That's the Spear one? Is that the Spear contract?
No, this is a new one that's going to be let just for the Air Force.
Okay.
Not service wide.
So was the first one the only one that was for stopping bullets?
Well, the ballistic helmet, yeah. That way,
90% of law enforcement the issue with this is that big bayonet on here. Selling the G11 because they're like $200. They're much cheaper than trying to say buy this arm for $150, buy the G24 for $200, $350. There's $400 in that. Most LE, they just don't have the money, you know. So you have, if they do, I mean, I would much rather you sell them this, but at least you're getting them in a good mount. And from there, I think once they see it, they're like, I need to maybe buy, upgrade, and get the next best thing. So, same thing when I was at another place. We had an introductory product and
on the CG&T contract, which is going on right now. Everything that's on there, 90% of the stuff is old, obsolete stuff. So they say they want this goggle, and which is old palm, 1250 palms. They haven't updated the newer stuff. Plus they'll ask for mounts, every one of them, except for like two, but a whole bunch of them, every mount they ask for, is obsolete. Just trying to find something that supersedes it has been a nightmare,
And if you can get it on an FMS sale, let's say they want mounts, because our mount has went through the Omnibus 8 program and it's a qualified mount by the U.S. Army, it's a great, we sold some that way on FMS sales. You can then, here's the NSN, here's the cage code, and they can buy on it off of FMS sale through Evergreen Proving Ground. So I don't know if you work on those or not.
Yes.
Just remember
every day with Aberdeen.
And it makes it so much easier because it's already a qualified mount by the U.S. Army. The G24 is not big Army qualified. It's soft qualified and been approved by the generals, but the big Army will look at that and go, no, it hasn't went through our testing. So just a little history on that. And I can give you my cards if you have any questions. You can phone me.
Yeah, we'd like to do it. Okay.
You guys have any other questions?
Just real quick, hold up on the razors or whatever you call them. I haven't. That's all I've heard for the last week from Kevin. I want to hear the Raptor. That's it.
Yep. There you go. No battery in it, but yep. Obviously,
rail mounts.
Micro. Yep. Laser rangefinder, visible laser, IR pointer, IR illuminator with a ballistic solver gives you obviously your hold and takes in the atmosphere, everything you need to know. So.
You keep an eye on these when Kevin's around.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why he'd be so enamored with that piece of equipment. He never did hit anything. And that wasn't the Raptor's fault.
That thing's a good piece of kit, but it's only as good as putting the data in. So many people mess that up, and then you get a phone call, and then you're troubleshooting it. So, again, that's a hard one. If you're not into shooting and you're trying to sell that and you don't know all the technical stuff on it, I would just, we'll leave you some numbers, have them call us. You still would say, hey, buy them through you. But you have to seriously know how to long range shoot to program that to get in it. It's not like a helmet mount. It's much more complicated.
Right.
So.
Can you talk in general, like what information goes into it?
Yeah, you gotta know the grainable, you gotta know the muzzle velocity, you gotta know the scope.
Like
I mean, I can rattle all off myself, but I expect one of your guys to do that. I don't expect that because I don't have people in my company that can do it. They're always calling the guys that are outside, or now Tucker's been here long enough where I've trained him on it. And it's not just one training session, it's going to the range, shooting, making sure you can program this thing. So, I mean, it's not that hard, but if you're not doing it every day, it's like knowing karate. You're only good as much as you practice, or all that stuff. So there's a lot of moving parts in there, and how they mount it on the gun is probably the number one thing. It's got to be mounted on top. It will work on a 3 and 9, but it's not as accurate, just because I can't control the gun's rails. And those rails.
There's a lot of similarities between aviation and this. Density, altitude, it's either hit or miss for us. For you, it's go or no go. And if that's off, if you've miscalculated, you're not going to get the shot. So this takes all the features of that Kestrel, pumps it into this, as well as an accurate beam shot for your distance. And then, as I was telling the other group, once you set up on the gun and get a good cheek weld, you never have to break that. If you have a good shooting position, all you do is look up above your optic, see what your elevation and wind hold is, and take the shot.
One of the slickest things I've ever seen.
So, yeah, currently, right now, that talks to a FLIR hit, which is a cooled thermal sight. It talks to the BAE thermal sight, and it talks to the INOD, which is a programmer record for SOC. So they'll run a cable, and then they can see all the come up, everything inside. We're the only rangefinder that's doing that. We're also communicating with Nightforce. Nightforce has developed a new scope. It's not out yet, but we've been testing it with SOCOM. They got a digital display inside, so now instead of looking up on top, you can just look right in the scope. And it's also talking to Vlcek, has a new optic that's coming out for that's called the ASR. So if you ever hear, there's an ASR program for SOCOM with advanced sniper rifle scope with a ballistic computer that will come out second quarter of FY18. So they're getting ready to spin that off, and they want that to communicate so you can see all your readout inside the scope.
Wow.
So we're communicating with anything. Standard protocol, 232's in there. So we use a standard Army protocol to communicate with the device. So probably don't know what all it means, but it's just standard stuff that the military makes us communicate with when we're ready for it, so we can talk to any device out there. It's impressive. I mean, you can take we took a lady a shot. She has never shot a rifle, and we ranged a target. We had her dry fire a couple times, and she hit a target at 1 mile the first time.
Wow.
What caliber?
300 Win Mag. So now with the new guns coming out, SOCOM's going to a 300 Norma. That's going to be released pretty soon. Once they test them, we'll see where it goes. And then a 338 Norma is going to be tested, and then a 260 platform. These guys, with a device like this, 1,000 in, they're hitting them probably the first round, I would say almost every time. If not, the second round they're going to hit. 1,500 meters, no problem. They hit a guy, no problem. If they don't hit him on the first round, I guarantee you the second round's a hit. And it's fast. It isn't, they're waiting for a thing. They have to shoot fast because the wind is constantly changing. So they'll follow up with a shot right away once their spotter tells them.
What's one of them like?
Year cost, depending on volume, year cost is $66.24. And then if you sell 1,000 or more, it'll drop.
$66.23 for 1,000 or more.
24.
Yeah, 24.
I'll never forget that.
All right, my turn. So I'm just going to talk about some of the new products that we have, particularly Aeronauts, Paraclete, and some of the other items that you guys can just know. So I'll start out with the PVS-7 and the PVS-14. So unique about this is ASU branded. We assemble this here, so we order in the parts, we assemble it. You can get any ranges from white phosphor, green phosphor, mostly we've been selling international with our ground units, and we work with we recently sold about 26 of these into Taiwan. So the cool thing about these ones is that they're submersible, 20 meters, and then the PVS-14 is submersible to 3 meters or about, right? So interesting thing, same thing with the PVS-14. We assemble it here in-house. The unique thing about this PVS-14 and the ASU PVS-14 that sets us apart from anybody else is the digital component. And that we've designed this, Dr. Joe designed this, and so when it's on a helmet, instead of reaching your finger and having to twist the button to the nod to come on, is that it's more of just a little pinch, and you can control your gains and the IR button's just there. So you guys I know probably a lot of us have seen these. Say that again.
I'm sorry. All the ones we're doing now are digital.
Digital, yes. We can do both. So, so customers that are only wanting price and they want a price point, the digital component is a little bit more expensive. So we'll sell, the standard version. So just like this, and you can turn them on as well. I think these all have batteries in them. I think they do feel like it.
This one does.
So these are, I don't know if that's white phosphor or not, but
On the digital one, did you guys put a sensor in there and when it flips up and shuts off, or do you have to push it manually?
That'd be a Dr. Joe question. I'm not sure. That's a question I have to get back to you on.
So that would be unique.
Is it
No
automatic?
14 does that. It's automatic.
Is it? Okay.
That's a
Thanks.
new feature. No 14 would do that right now.
So, I'll talk about Paraclete next. So, I'm not sure who's, and some of our pilots obviously can speak to this since they've been flying with this helmet a little bit. I'm not sure how much you guys have been through or right now. Interesting about this is, so Paraclete's a fairly new up-and-coming company. This is a helmet made specifically for helicopter pilots. They have a couple other options as well. So they have a fixed wing and then some, and it kind of goes up there in quality. So this particular one is called the Paraclete Espida. It comes in any different colors. They actually have one that's a carbon fiber finish. So it's kind of a really sleek looking helmet, but it's a little bit more expensive just for the look. But some people are actually willing to pay that. Interesting thing. So I'll talk about the head harness here first, or the chin strap. So this right here was tested to failure at 900 pounds. Okay, and it's interesting to note that it's just that simple to take off. And when I pass this around, you play with it, you turn this thing around, and that won't come off. I mean, no matter what there it came off. But anyway, so you play with it around, and it's really, really strong. And then you just pull by the tab, and it's just super, super simple. Another one of the features, so the eye cups have been engineered by Paraclete as well. So basically what the advantage of this helmet, the huge advantage is the safety in a survivable crash, and being able to survive in a survivable crash. This increases your chances of doing that. The ear cups are collapsible, so if you are on it, have a side impact, those ear cups will collapse a little bit, providing a little bit more protection for the pilot. And then the next thing I'll talk about here is the comfort liner, which is called the Nepos comfort liner. This is all memory foam, and I'll pass this around. The silver linings on that, it's the antimicrobial, and so they reduce the chance of any bacteria getting in there. So if they're flying hot, whether you're sweating, bacteria won't grow inside of there, and it won't smell. So it's odor resistant.
Say the name again.
Nepos comfort liner.
Nepos.
It's all memory foam.
I know it's my helmet.
Eliminates static, and then regulates the temperature as well. So in hot weather, those silver linings that you're looking at I turned it inside out, but the silver linings will actually help with the heat and will dispel any heat that's coming in. So it will help with flying in hot weather, and same likewise in colder climates as well. It will help keep in. Same feature that the Team Wendy helmet has is they call it the Kairos retention system, but it's essentially a BOA retention system. And then it has 4 points of where it actually encompasses and tightens down on your head. So this sits back on the back of the nape here, creating more comfort for the pilot, and actually it may not eliminate. I still don't know if it will. I'm not sure if you guys have been flying with it. It eliminates the need to use the counterweights because of the nape of where it sits, and it tightens down your whole head. It prevents the helmet from rolling forward, and that's a selling point that we've been told, and maybe it doesn't. But
Absolutely, it does. Even with the ballistic helmet and Panavision tubes, 4 tube up front, I never needed counterweights. It's that secure. That's bouncing around the back of an 860 for 8 hours.
Very good. Now I know there's been some some talk with this one because the pad is kind of thick, and they're doing some re-engineering of this, and so it's actually a little thinner, so it'll sit on the back of the nape a little better. But that's what that does. And so when you tighten the retention system, it encompasses your whole head. So it's not just, you're not just tightening down in the back and the helmet's sitting back like this. It's actually encompassing your whole head when you wear it. Lastly, I think that would be about it. Do you have anything to add on that, Justin, with this particular helmet?
Well, going back to that tensioning system, anybody who's worn a helmet knows exactly what happens when you start to draw that nape strap tight. It doesn't so much get you on the back of your neck. It starts nailing you right there. And that's where the bulk of your concern comes from. So when you're speaking to a customer on that end of it, you can relate to them a little bit better with that forward hot spot and the tight nape strap.
Yeah.
Does that depend on the draw, though? You know what I mean? Because if you look at an OpsCore helmet, they got the thing going straight here, and then it's going down, and you're tightening, so you're doing this. If you look at a Team Windy, they're going down at an angle.
Yeah.
So you're not having.
I like the Windy design.
You're not having that pressure. I mean, if you take both of them, I've never had the pressure up here in the Team Windy because of how they drew the angle.
That's exactly what I'm.
Well, the nape on the OpsCore is so low, it's like a lever. The top then pushes the other. If you got an O2 mask or weights, you get pressure right here in the hot spots.
Yep.
Whereas Team Windy, it is more circumferential. You don't get that cantilever thing in the front of your head. Yeah. Unless you've got a pointy head pilot.
Right.
That.
I only know a couple. Brad and I excluded, of course.
So last thing we'll talk about is our ASU's Aeronax, who we partnered with Vlcek to develop. So the interesting is, so the mount that's on that helmet now is actually a Capewell mount. It's not really used a lot. Typically the mount that's being used is a legacy that's by Harris. And that's you guys, special shipping guys, and anybody who's been down in our shipping area, you've seen that. The negative thing about the legacy mount is that if any part breaks on that, you have to throw the whole mount away, pretty much. So the great thing about the Aeronax is that there are piece parts and it's completely repairable for any operator to do. So, and they can do it in-house as well. They can send it back to us as well, obviously not in DG Lab, but we can sell them the parts for the replacement of this. And now the one thing that the Aeronax eliminates is the use or the need for the neck cord on the goggles. So instead of having it, where our pilots train the pilots to come here when they're using NVGs, is to strap that neck cord around the visor and tie it not so it releases all the slack if it's dangling behind your neck. So what that does is eliminates this little thank you, lanyard. Connects to the goggle, and so if the goggle were to fall off, say, 10 to 15 G's, right? So that goggle you won't lose it, right? It'll stay with you. You're not going to drop the goggle, break the goggle, it'll dangle there. Another thing to note is that with a certain amount of pressure, 5 to 10 pounds, 10 to 15 G's, this will come off. And so if you are in a crash, what will happen with using the old neck cord, those goggles can sit there and bat in the face of the pilot, causing a lot of damage to their face. It'll break off, and then it's just completely separate from you, and you're not, breaking those pretty pilot faces. So.
No, you just point your head to the passenger you don't like.
So, and then moving on, obviously the battery pack as well, we've redesigned as well. The biggest failure and the biggest thing that I never understood starting in this industry is the inserts. Never understood why this was part of this. Why just not make it so the batteries go straight inside? So that's a big thing that was eliminated with the Aeronax, is that the AA batteries both sit straight up, so you're not having to figure out. You just find the contact and just put them in themselves like that. So pass that around as well. The good thing about this, historically we've sold the counterweights separately. With this, we actually, when we purchase these, the counterweights come with the battery pack. So that helps our cost, helps the customer's cost, and it's lesser things for them to be worried about.
What did you call this mount?
That's Capewell actually makes that. Capewell, who we're selling the aeronauts to.
Right, that's,
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah. So, last thing that I'll talk about is this GCI, which is a ground combat interface, which allows us to mount an aviation goggle to a ground helmet. So it just sits in here like this. And then you can slide the goggles slide the aviation mount. And the great thing about this that was engineered for me is this slides into the GCI really, really nice. It's when with the other quick disconnect plates that's on the paraclete, it's kind of at times it's kind of hard to slip in. That just slides in just super easy. Comes out nice and easy, but it's sturdy and it stays in there. And that's one of the things that I really like about it. So, but that's anybody have any questions about any items that we offer and that? Yeah.
Can I add something too, Daniel?
Yeah,
This
please.
is probably more for maybe you and Mike, but as I was chatting with Paul there for just a second, our fixed wing operators are looking for a solution, an alternative to a helmet. They don't like wearing helmets. So that's what it boils down to. Wasn't how they were brought up. So I think we might need to have some discussions about, I'm thinking a bump helmet, probably the lightest weight one that we could work with to keep them happy. And just, it's going to be that NVG interface. It's going to be the crucial part of that, with maybe some bows or Dave Clark ear cups and mic put onto it.
Well, the appeal for the AFSOC guys is, especially when we're flying U-28 with CC Pro,
Yeah.
tiny cockpit.
Yep.
I mean, there's a height weight restriction on the pilots.
Yeah.
They want all low guys up there because they're so cramped. So here's a smaller stature. They want that carbon fiber, that low profile with the dual-powered aviation mount, just really close to the head, not worrying about banging the side of the. You got to worry about and that too. Yeah.
So it sounds like you've got a solution for it already.
I say we've got 10 of them down there at AFSOC that they're trying out, the gunship guys as well as the warlords.
Okay.
Waiting to hear back here before we come to it. This is that. That one's it right there. Yep.
But I'd say,
Yeah.
Daniel, if you're talking to a fixed wing operator, just like you're trying to sell the Paraclete helmet, I would say
Keep promoting that.
trust me, because I get that asked every time we go out with a fixed wing guy. What do you have so I don't have to wear this helmet?
We have an
I got another
we have
helmet.
an NVG mount. There's a safety switch here.
Okay, we just got one more group, so we're gonna go through this again. If you guys wanna take a break, we'll take a couple minutes.
Same thing, that'll convert towards us from there.
Thank you guys.
That's your low, yep, low battery.
Thanks, man. That's
Awesome,
really
yeah.
cool. Nice meeting you.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Yeah, it's coming around. Yeah, I know they have to have it.
Yep.
That's what I was looking for. I didn't see it on there.
Or I gotta share the information.
Or quick disconnect goes in this one, goes in this one.
So,
Here in a little bit.
we already sold on the card. So this is our low profile rail shroud, the typical UPS was your choice.
What'd you do with our ground adapter? The quick disconnect, ground adapter?
Right, if you want to stick around, because you missed the first part of the.
It doesn't pop to
That's our mount then.
Yeah, I know, I thought we were on the next session, and then I
Yeah,
was
what's the
like,
same
maybe
as
it's
this?
too
Yeah,
small.
same thing.
She shot with a lanyard on this.
But we just keep doing this over and over.
Yeah.
When you're trying to relate to
Right.
Essentially, we have one that fits on you guys, we're manufacturing one that will fit on this as well. So this fits to our normal shroud, as you see here. It fits to square.
That's the first time I had that.
That's the rail shroud.
One they're going back to, is that what you were saying?
The
This
first time I
is
had
the one you were saying,
that.
pulls it close.
Yep,
Yeah.
the low profile
And that's
range
good.
route. So you
Right,
can see,
instead of this.
so this takes.
I mess around with this. I mess around with this all the time.
No, I know yourself.
I know. Yeah. I just think that's like one of the coolest things about that. So.
What is this?
All things aeronautics. We do have, if
Is
someone.
it a rebreather?
Yeah. I forget what it's called. What's this called again?
Patriot 5510.
Is it a rebreather or what's the deal?
Life support
Yeah.
system. So it has, it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
So it does positive air pressure, PAPR,
Okay.
APR, and SCBA.
Jesus.
3 different modes,
Oh, yeah.
built by Wilcox.
Like, because you see
Um,
on the helmet, it's got this angle and that changes.
5,000 PSI. And I'm just going off of what I've heard at the
Sure.
SHOT Show.
Yeah.
So it gives you a little more air than regular SCBA.
Really?
You can go with 1 tank. You can put an acetylene bottle here for breaching. So you can breach with it as well.
God dang, what aren't you guys doing? Are they in
So,
at this point?
yeah. So that's it.
What does that run?
I think they're
You were going into a meeting.
retailing for 16. I'm trying to get under 10.
Are they?
Yeah.
All right. Guess I know what
Why, you wanted one?
Sure, why not? That'd be all right.
If it was under 10, would you buy it?
With enough years advance warning.
Okay.
So I can start saving.
Awesome. That's a jetpack.
It's either a
Yes.
jetpack, a rebreather, or a flamethrower. Which one?
All 3.
Yep.
Oh, it's all 3.
No, so it's a hybrid life support system.
Okay.
So SCBA, positive air pressure, and APR mode. And you can switch between 3 modes depending on your environment and the level of protection you need. So Wilcox builds it. There's a Bluetooth stack in here, so it talks to our software, and we can distribute tank pressure or bar in the EU, which mode it's in, and then the battery life of the unit as well, to the other operators or command and control units back in the rear.
What's pressure America?
5510.
55.
Yes.
Holy crap, holy.
I don't want them showing up.
So it gives you, with 2 tanks, probably 45 minutes,
Yeah.
depending
They're
on,
all on hold.
if you
so I
skip
have to
breathe,
first,
maybe
I'm like,
52.
I'm going to have to get
we need to chip in.
corrective lenses in my goggles now. That's all I can see right
And you
now.
can
I'm trying to look at that.
take off an air tank, put an acetylene bottle in for breaching, torch breaching.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay.
So, not a fire rig. It's specifically for spec ops and
Yeah, yeah.
CST teams and stuff
I
like
didn't know they
that.
were holding up for anything. I thought everything was go.
What's retail?
All we need is
16.
to write a check on the first,
They're trying to get it down
which is on
to
a
10.
Friday.
Yeah.
It's Sunday. It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, I got it on my
Awesome.
calendar. It's on-
Second
it's on
generation.
Monday. He's telling me I looked, and it's Sunday. So I'm gonna have to
So a
call
regular
him.
fire respirator goes on there.
Yeah.
Is that the one itself?
Wow.
That's
Wow.
Yeah.
All these new toys.
Oh yeah. Information overload, huh?
That most people don't
They have
see.
4 new 407s. And they have a
They don't know it's right there.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So you're gonna train them both? Or just the 407s?
What sells this is, you can put fingerprints in that letter pad, stuff like that here. They'll have to.
I live in Maine. Yeah, we're out of Massachusetts.
Two thicknesses,
Done
fully configurable.
22 minutes, 3 states. That's my commute.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Southern Maine.
Okay.
It's all gonna be about comfort and weight.
I've worn this for 12 hours, possibly jet measure training, July, Florida.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of this stuff. Other than
Did you hear that? That was awesome. Paul said you can keep that one
goggles and stuff.
to use with the trains.
Right.
Oh, I heard that.
He only looks old.
Carry that around.
Yeah.
Detect seismic footsteps, vehicular, and then it can send a hit or an event
I strongly
to a
recommend
camera.
some type of.
So take an imagery. You can also send it to a drone.
I know what they're gonna want. They're gonna want loads.
You fly over and get
You have to see how noise canceling and something along those lines.
What's the range?
Something ironworks.
The detection range?
Yeah.
It depends on how you deploy it. That's very hard to quantify.
We're making these
Well,
right
I mean, is there any reason to mate them up?
Are those that they put?
Except one.
Oh, you can mesh. You can mesh them. They do mesh. But range for event sending, if you're in the desert, Afghanistan or Iraq, they're getting
Maybe it's already in good shape.
10 kilometers. With Horizon. Yep.
For the CVC,
Mesh.
for the tankers.
Go forever. You can connect
So they might know the contact where they can put that
either
in and
Yeah, absolutely.
kind of the manufacturer Charles Webb radio to it. 150
With
foot.
a product that TCI makes.
How do you
our meta-tensions back there?
Just to the top of here. Make sure you pack it around good so there's no void.
So this little guy is super out.
Yep, just scan it. Yep, and you want to feel it with all the board and everything else.
It's all ring.
It's inside here, so you want this to have a surface area as well. Surround so pretty cool.
There we go. I should have grabbed one quad X from you and I didn't. But I was using a constant.
Yeah,
You plan
batteries in 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
18 months in the big one.
Oh, wow.
All right, so this is our last group. Thank you guys. Saving the best for last. And you guys are lucky because they've already perfected every bit of this. Everybody's kicking around.
I do it different every time.
Yeah.
Right?
You're doing an awesome job. All right, Scott, it's
We're
all
good?
you.
Kicking off. Good afternoon, Group 3.
Thank you.
Scott Vlcek with Blue Forest Development. We are a software company out of Newburyport, Massachusetts.
Is that too bright?
Yes. Very good. We build software applications for Android and iOS devices, as well as for Windows and Apple laptops and desktops, mainly based around sensor fusion of any manufactured piece of hardware, which we don't build. We just build the software that speaks to all these different little sensors and machines. All of these sensors and machines give you great information. Most of the operators are carrying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these at a time on their specific mission sets, and having to go through 6, 7 different apps to get your information is very time consuming, and the intelligence is usually dead by the time you get through it all and analyze it. So what we did is we take the data streams, fuse it into one, make it shareable to other people on mobile devices or back in a command and control environment, and put rules-based events on it, so you only get notified when something goes wrong. All right? All secure NSA FIPS 140-2 and AES 256-bit encryption on all the data to and from and at rest. We met ASU. I met Jim Winkle at SHOT Show last year. I was demonstrating the Wilcox 5510 life support system, where we are able to consume and share the tank PSI, the mode that this rig is in, and the battery health, and fuse it with information coming off of a Kestrel environmental data logger and a multi-gas detector built by MSA. I was also demonstrating the ability to consume and share video feeds coming off of a off-the-shelf GoPro 4 Hero camera. When Jim saw that, he said, "Hey, I've got a product with that piece of equipment inside of it, and the biggest requirement we're getting from our end users is it's a great piece of equipment, but I have to be behind the screen to see what's going on. How can I share that to a mobile device or back to my command and control elements?" So that's how we hooked up. And you can see I'm live feeding right now from this Ecliptus unit over to the dashboard over here. I'm going through YouTube Live. There's little latency, so it's about 10 seconds through YouTube Live. So that's what we do. Take all the data streams off this equipment, fuse it, and then make it shareable to people in the field. Another cool piece of equipment here that we just started working with. This is a seismic unattended ground sensor. So these can be placed in the ground around certain facilities that you want to protect and know if someone's doing reconnaissance or they're going to come in and do some harm to your facility. So you set these out. If it detects seismic activity, it can send an event to a game cam or an IP network camera. It'll cue that video camera or that still imagery and send it back to a mobile device or back to a laptop or desktop. We can also, through our software, send that event up to a UAS. The UAS will take off, fly over to that latitude, longitude, and start giving you overhead overwatch video for that situation. Like any software product, it is subscription based, so end users buy it either on a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. We do give multi-year discounts and quantity discounts. We have some other platforms that Daniel brought up earlier that aren't focused on the sensors. As we deployed our stuff, we found a lot of our customers don't carry sensors or machines, but they still wanted the ability to use the smart device, the computing power of a smart device, for location-based services. So it uses the internal GPS of the device, the ability to grab still imagery from the front or rear camera, the ability to reach in and grab the microphone to listen to what's going on around that endpoint, and then also the accelerometer gyroscope for disposition of the person. Are they up? Are they down? Are they moving? Are they motionless? And the ability to throw a quick panic and start notifying people to come and help them when they get into hazardous environments. That's it. 30,000 foot view. Any questions? No?
So this software is kind of a new thing for ASU, and so we've got a agreement where a referral agreement with Blue Force. So that's kind of how our sales team works, because we're engaging with a lot of law enforcement and a lot of customers that may have applications for this, and so we kind of put those, those dots together. And but these guys are really the experts in the software, and so we're referring those customers over to them. We're really excited to see the way that it takes the Ecliptus and connects it over huge geographies. Like when Jake was saying earlier today, when we were down at ALEA, we had an IP camera in our hangar connected to the command, as well as the Ecliptus camera. And then, didn't we have one other camera going, or we had some other sensors?
Yeah, we have a camera in our office.
Yeah. So we had all of, somebody sitting there can have that situational awareness across huge geographies.
How feasible would it be to use your software on my cell phone as a flight following in the aircraft?
Probably very feasible. What type of communications backhaul do you have? To the ground? Do you want to send that information somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Back to somebody else's, say iPhone, so that we could look at it and go, oh yeah, they're right there. And
yeah, as long as you have some kind of comms link to the ground.
So with the cell phone, as long as you've got cell phone coverage in the aircraft.
Yeah, or we could go over, if you have some kind of network coming out of your aircraft to the ground, we could go over that network as well. We're not tied to a terrestrial line.
So
and at certain speeds you'll lose. If you get over, I think it's 70 knots, you can't pass towers that quick. So you need an alternative comms backhaul once you get at that speed.
So I wonder if the spider tracks or the flight
at speed.
maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
And something neat about that stuff, and I was just thinking about it for you guys fly and you teach pilots, you can wear a Vlcek and it'll actually, you can see his heart rate going up, what mental, how much sweat he's perspiring. So you'll know the state of that guy, the new guy that's flying, you could actually monitor all that.
Like, that part where you guys cut the engine or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
When it does this?
Yeah, I could that part, right?
Yeah, nobody told me about that.
And then we go, how come that didn't bother you? Well, I don't know, I was asleep, I guess.
It woke me up.
I couldn't sleep at all.
talking about when you and I flew?
No, with Dan.
Oh, with Dan. Oh.
Yeah, Dan, he didn't mention that.
Oh.
I went through the ground school.
Oh. Wow.
Cool.
Good?
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, sure. Do we clap?
Yeah, how about if we?
You be the first one.
Hopefully the last.
Right?
My name is Paul Kessler. I'm with a company called Team Wendy. We partner with Wilcox. All we manufacture is helmets. They're a Cleveland-based company. They've been around for about 20 years. I came on board a year and a half ago after I retired from the Air Force. This is the helmet that they sent me over in Iraq for my last deployment. It's a 2.6-pound Level 3A ballistic helmet. Lightest one on the market right now. What makes this helmet successful is it's got a Wilcox one-piece shroud on the front. So instead of having to use rubber bands and bungee cords to keep your NVGs from flopping around the wind, you use this Wilcox shroud. Eliminates all that slop in there. Really tight tolerances, so there's no play whatsoever. All of our helmets come with called the BOA retention system. Uses this knob right here. When you tighten this down, it tightens circumferentially around your head rather than pulling your jawbone up in your brain. Reduces the hot spots and headaches. And then they all come with a 16-pad set, 2 different thicknesses, which you can adjust any configuration you want, including wearing it over your headset just by removing the channel. If you need comms on the ground, specifically for JTACs, that type of role. So that's it, right?
Do they, so like what we were talking, some of you folks were here talking about, you know, our airplane folks wanting some type of helmet similar to this. You guys make like a lightweight version? Oh, okay. All right, the bicycle helmet with
the
all
bicycle
the
helmet,
stuff.
yeah, carbon fiber bicycle helmet. That's about 1,046 MSRP, so 600 less than the competition. And we deliver in 2 to 3 weeks. Next on down, non-ballistic. This is a carbon fiber bump helmet. Same retention system, okay, and it has 2 different types of pad sets. And the air crew like this because it much increases the airflow around your head, especially in summertime, Florida, all that type of thing. And this is also outfitted with the Wilcox shroud. But this is a dual-powered aviation mount and a low profile, which they're going to get into a little bit later on. It has rails on the side. You can attach your headsets to the side, or also wear it over your headset as well as plug in your oxygen mask, single point for a FAOS or a solar mask.
Oh, that's getting better.
Yeah.
So those mounts are pretty easily removable, huh?
The NVG mount? The front? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, just pop that right off. Yep. One-handed. Just push that to the side and pops out. Then we have a polymer. This is a ProTech amped up a little bit. Runs about 275. Same retention system. Only has the one style of pads on the inside. But again, fully configurable. You can wear it over your headset or attach it to the side. Insert your NVGs, your GoPro camera, headlamp, whatever you want to put on there. The ballistic, this is a boltless retention system. One less point of failure, especially hard openings. Guys are making parachute jumps, you don't have to worry about that bolt popping out and sticking in the skull. Yeah. That's the polymer.
Ooh, getting better yet.
This is also polymer. Here's what it looks like. These are Peltor headsets. Again, these are attached with a proprietary mount and a T-nut. We also have a quick release. It just slaps right into the slot right there.
Yeah.
That'd be fun once. This is the helmet I use for free fall. It's got a pocket on the side for your jitter, your audible altimeter for your opening altitude. Same point of contact though for your O2 masks. Same NVG shrouded mount. And that's all I got. Any questions?
So I've snugged this up.
Push it in, turn it clockwise, yeah.
Yeah. Now, and then does it just back off? Just
To release it?
Yeah.
Pull it straight out.
Pull it. Oh, okay.
Pops loose. There's enough latitude in the adjustment, and these come in 2 sizes, 1 or 2. That's it. There's enough latitude in the adjustment. You can wear, for instance, on the SAR helmet, they can wear it over a dry suit hood or a fleece cap. I can put a thin skull cap underneath that in the wintertime. Yeah, don't mess your hair.
Now, different manufacturers, so like a Bose headset could.
We produce that for the tank guys.
Okay.
On the ballistic helmet only so far. Like I say, we make the mounts and ironworks for both MSA and Piltor.
Okay.
And,
So this is basically the same helmet as that, except just for the shell, ballistic shell versus.
an armor shell on it, yep. Any other questions? So if you're stumbling down the alley after making, too much Maker's Mark, why, that's the helmet they have on right there.
Yeah.
Protect your head before you do it. Curve shot.
You have the ballistic and the bicycle helmet. This is the paintball helmet, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. You'd be surprised, believe it or not, how many airsoft guys buy that.
Yeah.
That's $275, but
Gotta look
must
cool.
be into their sport.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They are too.
We had an airsofter with Jeep MPGs on some of his mountain, so just FYI. They're crazy. Yeah.
Which one is this one?
That's a carbon,
Oh, it's just a different color.
just different color.
What was the price plan on the?
About $550. This is the one that ASOC, the 5 flying units down there are looking to find this for little birds and their gunship crews as well. It's not a helmet, it's an NVG platform.
Yeah, exactly.
So you call it a helmet. The Air Force Aviation gets involved, that's it. Come back to me in 50 years and they'll still be flying the same thing.
So hearing protection and NVG mount is.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's heavy.
That's the lightest ballistic helmet made. It's heavy, it's got the comm on it.
Heavy, light, ballistic
Yeah. I wore that in the back of the 860, bouncing around for 6 to 8 hours. No hot spots, no headaches, and I never needed counterweights.
Yeah. And then which type of goggles were you using? 7s? PBS 7s?
Yeah, and the what's that air crew on the
MS6s or 9s?
55? What are they? 50? Yeah. Or 14s.
Okay.
Of course, towards the end, the guys were using Panavision tubes.
No, that's the 4.2.
4,
Yeah.
like this.
That adds a little bit.
That adds a little bit of weight. Yeah. That's all I got. Any questions? Next up.
Huh?
Synchronized.
Why do you go first? I'm Metro Wilcox. I'm Tucker Perkins from Wilcox. Thanks for having us out. Obviously, we got our start years ago and are known for our night vision mounting solutions to ballistic helmets specifically. That's how we were the first to pre-drill a 3-hole configuration to a ballistic helmet and keep the integrity of the helmet. Obviously, that's transformed our line into many different options for a lot of different helmets. 1-hole, 3-hole, no-hole. The skull lock, which is a mounting solution without use of a helmet. And people know us best for our mounting solutions. And we do have electro-optics, weapons accessories, which we are aimed to be the best in the world at, and that's our goal for the next few years. But for now, we'll stick to the mounting solutions, and we'll obviously have those products out on the range tomorrow for everyone to use as well. But just a quick example here. This is a Wilcox Team Wendy traditional 3-hole shroud, drilled through a ballistic helmet, keeping the integrity of the helmet. When used in conjunction with the traditional Wilcox G24 mount, as seen here, this mount hooks into the shroud, locks in place, has a breakaway feature. When engaged, will break away off the shroud at 5 to 10 pounds. It's about 25 to 30 pounds when its breakaway feature is not engaged. So we push people, especially new for this year, using a Wilcox shroud with a Wilcox mount. We offer a lifetime warranty, and those two products are used in conjunction with each other rather than, which we run into a lot of operators using traditional G24 mount on, say, an off-core shroud, off-core helmet. It will fit into that shroud. It's just the mount and shroud are manufactured together and life cycle tested together over 1 million times in our factory, and obviously with that safety feature on the breakaway, we know the tolerance and we know when it's going to come off if the operator's fast roping and catches their goggles on the road, takes a corner too fast, etc. The G24 mount accepts the Vlcek traditional dovetail shoe design, which is seen here on the PVS 14 J-arm. We make a dovetail shoe for most any NPG, obviously with the 49, 49, 50, 50 still using the ball and D10 mount. Like aircrew scenario, we have not only we're working together on the Aeronox mount, but the dual-powered aviation mount, which takes the Sierra 123 battery and has a switch here. There's a safety catch. You switch to your external power, pop the safety catch back in. Has a low battery indicator as well. But moving back, I'll come back to that in a second. The G24 mount, as you know, many goggles come with their own shoe design. We recommend switching to the Vlcek shoe with the Vlcek mount, with the Vlcek shroud, because everything is manufactured together and we have a really tight tolerance